For my last and final speech, I will be making a persuasive speech about how people growing up in poverty should pursue education. With the pressures of today's society, the odds are against those who live in poverty. In a society where everything revolves around money, those in poverty are more likely to commit violent crimes, use illegal drugs, and lack motivation for education. Considering these factors, they are more likely to end up in prison. According to recent data, recent data can demonstrate that today there are more prisons in America than there are colleges. With college education, there are exceptional opportunities to move through social barriers and to improve one's standard of living. The effects of growing up in poverty include battling the odds, lacking motivation to gain education, and ending up in prison and suffering the consequences. Children who grow up in poverty are 1/3 less likely to graduate from high school. This is due to the fact that malnutrition and high levels of stress over long periods of time do take a toll on a child. Furthermore, it is the outcome of frequent moves from house to house, lack of parental involvement, and a higher risk for being involved in violent crimes. Though desperate times call for desperate measures, this is a saying that is shown by people who tend to commit crimes. When times are tough, people tend to do things that they normally wouldn't do under normal circumstances in order to maintain their standard of daily living and to protect themselves and or their family members. With education and motivation to overcome the low quality of life, people can exceed through these stereotypes and statistics to become the exception to the rule, because we know there is always an exception to every rule. For example, Oprah Winfrey came from a very, very poor family. She won a scholarship to Tennessee State University and later became the first African American TV correspondent when she was only 19 years old. Now she is an influentially established woman who sets an inspiring example for not only women, but men and young children and people of all ages. Really, she is very inspirational. She proves that because one is born into poverty does not mean that they have to live that way the rest of their life. With hard work and dedication, anything is possible. Doing big things will not come easy. One cannot sit around and wait for an opportunity. They must go out and create their own opportunity for success. The saying, "the sky's the limit," shows that there are countless things in life that one can do to become anything they have ever wanted and more. And in America, we are privileged to have the opportunity to go to college and make our lives better that way. It is unfortunate that the United States has more prisons than it does colleges. With one in every 31 Americans being in prison, 1 in every 10 of them came from poor homes. The United States has the highest prison population in the world. Studies show that within 5 years after being released from prison, 76.6 prisoners were rearrested. This has to do with trouble finding a job after incarceration because not many business owners want to give people who have been in trouble before a chance. With most employers requiring knowledge or an explanation of previous charges, it is really hard for a convicted felon to get back on his or her feet after leaving prison. Most employers will not hire a felon. This is an inconvenience to those who have actually changed their ways and learned from their mistakes after paying their debt to society. It explains why several offenders become repeat offenders. Clearly, it is hard to land a job after spending time in prison. The desire to change is powerful enough to strike motivation in an individual so strong that he or she will jump through obstacles doing whatever it takes to reach the top. Hard work and perseverance pay off greatly. Though the government has programs set up in order to help those in poverty, it will surely never be efficient enough. Congress needs to ban the box on job applications that requires um, felons to state their previous charges, unless it was a drug charge or a sexual offense charge or a violent crime such as murder or armed robbery. Those are obvious reasons why you should put those on a job application. But this needs to be done so the United States can start lowering prison rates and prison populations, and in turn making successful people out of those who have paid their debt to society, who have learned from their mistakes, who are ready to get on with the better part of their life. In order to overcome growing up in poverty, one must battle the odds and maintain motivation to earn education and avoid imprisonment. After people get out of prison, going to college is a great thing because though you have a record, if an employer sees that you are qualified, that you have gone to school, most of the time that is overlooked. The fact that you are a felon or that you have been in trouble before, because they see, wow, okay, bad things do happen and some people get caught up, but they're on their feet now. And if you go to college and you get your education and you prove that you are qualified and that your mistakes do not define you, that will matter more than you ever know.